Well, good morning. Beautiful wintry day here today. We had a couple inches of snow overnight. Kind of started about 8 o'clock or so last night, and kind of snowed throughout most of the night. I woke up about 3:30 or so, and it was still kind of snowing a little bit. So it got a bit of snow, enough to be annoying because we live in Montana, and that's part of living in Montana is getting annoying snow. So we deal with it. A little frustrating. It's kind of heavy and wet, and there's that kind of snow, and then underneath the ground was wet because we got a little bit of rain first, and so of course there's a layer of ice, and that made it a lot of fun to shovel. And wet, and there's that kind of snow, and then underneath the ground was wet because we got a little bit of rain first, and so of course there's a layer of ice, and that made it a lot of fun to shovel. Um, Ironically or interestingly, we're supposed to get a plow for our new lawn tractor. We bought a new John Deere lawn tractor over the summer. Remove the mower deck and the bagger off of it yesterday because we're supposed to get a new plow for it today after the snow. It would be nice to have it on before the snow so I could have used it this morning, but that's all right. If the snow's still around, it'll give me a chance to test it out because um, it's actually gonna be pretty nice right now. It's my little thermometer here above my head is showing 30 degrees, so it's actually a decent day outside. There's not a lot of wind, and it's pretty nice, except for snow and ice and miserable and wet. But other than that, this is part of living in Montana. I love Montana and I love the winter. Just hate having to shovel the snow. I love looking at the snow. It's beautiful outside. It really is, especially this morning when I woke up and looked outside, and it was just pristine white snow. It was beautiful. But that's life in Montana, like I said, and if it gets above freezing like it's supposed to, a lot of this will probably melt away. So it probably won't stick around that long. We aren't don't know if we'll have one of those winters like we did a couple of years ago, where it snowed about the first part of December. I want to say it was like December 6th, and it didn't melt until May. The last of it melted in May. We actually, we have a nativity set we put out on the lawn of our church, and our local newspaper, a little weekly newspaper that we have here. They actually had a picture in March or April, somewhere in there, kind of in the middle of the winter, middle of the worst of it. And you could see, like, our nativity set, the camel, the snow was up to the bottom of him, and it's about a 5 foot tall camel, I want to say. And we couldn't find the couple of the sheep were missing, and you actually couldn't really see inside the manger area or anything like that. It's got a little shed that you put Mary and Joseph and all them in. So it's it was a interesting winter, to say the least. I think we were glad when that one was done, when the last snow finally melted off. We had nice weather. I'm hoping this winter won't be like that. So far, it doesn't seem like it's going to be yet, because the last snow that we got pretty much melted off. There might have been a little bit of patches. I think we had some out on our lawn here and a couple other places around town. You'd see some patches of snow, but nothing too serious. So that's what we're dealing with today is just kind of winter weather, and you get along with it. But the question is, I haven't heard from the guy from John Deere yet, so I don't know if our tractor or if our plow's on the way or not. I hope it is, because I really would like to get it on there and use it. It was kind of fun actually yesterday, monkeying around with the garden tractor, with the lawn tractor, and pulling everything off. It comes off pretty easy. I mean, of course, it was the first time doing it, so I had to follow the instructions and everything. Yes, I used the instructions. I'm not the typical guy that doesn't read instructions. I do read instructions occasionally. But it's pretty easy because it's all the mower deck and the bagger and everything are all pretty much just, yeah. I mean, it's all attached by lock pins. Those little cotter pins or whatever you call them, where you snap them on and it stays put, and that makes it really easy then for removing it and putting it back together when you need to. So that helps a lot, to be able to do that, where and again, it's not too hard, it's not too heavy, and I can get it out of there, get that stuff out of there, and kind of put it in a corner of the garage here. It's kind of hiding. I've got the garage is next to my office here, and it's sitting in the corner of the office or the garage there, and just kind of hanging out basically. So that's kind of fun. That was kind of fun to do and kind of interesting to work on. And about May, I'll have to put all that stuff back on there and get it ready to and I don't know, I might leave the, if I can, I might even just leave the blade on the front of it. I probably is going to get removed just because I think it uses the same mounts as some of the mower deck does. So that was kind of a project I got done yesterday and was glad to get done. Um, yeah, it's like I said, it's decent. It looks nice, and I think clouds are yeah, there's still some pretty good clouds out there. I was gonna say, I was trying to figure out if we're gonna have some sun here today, but still, as long as it's not super cold, mega freezing, below freezing's one thing, um below zero is another. We don't have that, fortunately. It really never got that cold. Um, but yeah, let's see where it's going. Of course, yeah, there's not too much today. I mean, it's we're kind of hanging out there. I will say though, one thing I'm going to be very careful about in these chats is talking about politics. But I will say I am so tired of all of it. That's part of the reason why I don't want to talk about politics. You look at everything that's going on, and it's not about running our country anymore. It's about party A versus party B and scoring points. This side has power now, so we're going to do what we want, and the other side has to wait until it's their turn to have power. Yeah, I think we need to start writing our politicians, do your job. Stop fighting with the other party and do your job. So, but like I said, I want to be careful about talking about politics on here because I know there's a certain line I can cross where I can get in trouble, where I could get a nice little call from the bishop if it got reported. So I don't want to go there. But yeah, of course, that's kind of interesting thinking about politics because the readings today kind of deal with political issues of sort. The first reading was again from Maccabees. Just like over the weekend we had the woman and the her 7 children, or at least the shortened version of it. And the one today is a different cut from the same passage. And then the gospel is of the man who went off to be king and gave the talents, the gold coins that were invested and all that. And, kind of touches on politics and how we as for religion should really be kind of uncomfortable bedfellows, if you will, with religion or with politics. I mean, that when we look at politics, we should not, our primary focus should not be the politics. Our primary focus should be bringing faith to the politics. So, and this is, again, so many politicians, I think, miss this, that we need to be Catholic first. And again, it doesn't matter what party you're talking about. Both sides have issues with this, where their political alignment is more important to them than their faith, whether it is abortion or issues of immigration, how we handle that, or death penalty. And, we can have disagreements with some of these, how we handle immigration, how we do death penalty. We can have disagreements there. We really can, but at the same time, we still need to use the teachings of the church on these issues to inform our political stances. And at the same time, as Christians, when we do, hold on a second, I got to mute this because I think this is our guy from the John Deere. Just a sec. About that. Sorry about that. That was our guy from John Deere, and he can't make it. The roads are horrible. I mean, they're pure ice. It sounds like, Havre, where they come out of. There's a couple of big hills. It comes in and out of a river valley. The road does, and it's not good. He says he can't even get up the hill. The hill's basically shut down. It's so icy. So unfortunately, it means it won't be here till tomorrow. I'll have to clear the walk some other way. I've got a snow blower, but it doesn't like really wet snow. Anyways, getting back to what I was talking about, the other issue with politics is when political position takes a stance that is contrary to our faith, how we should respond as Catholics, and that's with disobedience. The mother and her 7 sons disobeyed the king. The king commanded them to eat pork, which was against the Mosaic law, against the law of God given to Moses. They refused and were killed for it, and we should be willing to do the same. Again, yesterday I spoke about the book Power and Glory, and it's the same. Again, it's the same symptom that when we have something political, we should fight against it. We should oppose it if it's contrary to the Catholic faith. A good example in our modern day is the Little Sisters of the Poor, as I've said that before, how they have to basically fight to control what they believe as Catholics should be in their medical plan, their health plan, versus what the government says. And there's many other cases like that. We hear of people who they refuse service to someone because it would be supporting something that they hold as immoral. The idea being, like the issue of the baker of the cake for a gay wedding. It's one thing to serve people who are homosexual just a cake. They go and buy just a regular birthday cake or a regular ice cream cake or whatever, just some regular cake. It's another thing to make a specialized artistic cake for a wedding that is immoral. And we should have the right to make that decision. The government says no. And so there have been the lawsuits. As Christians, we need to have that courage to stand up and say, no, I'm not going to, and you can't make me. And I that's something I would like to see more Christians be willing to say to the government of, I don't care how many guns you have. I don't care how many police you have. I don't care how many jails you have. You can't make me do this. And yes, you will have to throw me in jail. You will have to, arrest me. I'm not shutting down my business. I'm not doing the work you want me to do. I'm going to have that courage. That's something we don't do as Christians. We want to get along in our culture. And again, we have like I said, I think yesterday, about so many lukewarm Christians who are either unwilling to fight against the government, or worse yet, just flat out capitulate. They participate in it. They encourage it. And we can't do that. We need to, this is something that's been on my mind a lot lately because of everything that's going on with our country and moral issues and, accusations of bigotry and racism and sexism and all the things that are being thrown out there that are not the case. Yes, there is bigotry in our country. There's bigotry everywhere in the world. Humanity has always had some form of bigotry or another. That's sinful nature. It's sinful. But disagreeing with someone because that they say they're transgender and so they should be able to have the surgeries to show that's not bigotry. That's not bigotry at all. Disagreeing with gay marriage is not bigotry. It's not bigotry at all. Things like that. Disagreeing with someone regardless of their skin color on any issue. Because of course that's the fallback is, well, you disagree with me because you're white and I'm black, or whatever the skin colors are. No, I disagree with you because you're wrong. I think you're wrong. I think morally you have an issue. We have to be willing to do that. And again, this isn't a conservative versus liberal, Republican versus Democrat. This is all sides of the issues, because there are moral issues that, yes, the Republicans have it right. There are times for morally the Democrats have it right. There are times when both of them have it right. There are times when neither of them have it right, at least according to church teaching. And we need to, in those places where we can't disagree because it is such a strong moral issue, especially the life issues, we need to be fighting for them. We need to be fighting for life. We need to be fighting for the respect of all human life from conception to natural death. When there's issues of disagreement, then we need to be willing to disagree. Again, there are so many teachings of the church that, especially these moral teachings, that you can make arguments either way. How we handle immigration, there are legitimate arguments we can have there. Do we need to respect those who are seeking immigration? Do we need to respect even those who have crossed the border illegally? Absolutely. They need to be treated with respect. They need to be treated with dignity. But that doesn't mean that we have to roll out the red carpet and let them in. We really can't, or we don't have to. We can disagree with, is the wall the better option? Is changing the laws the better option? Is there some balance between? Do we make things easier where it's better for them and they're more encouraged to go to ports of entry, and we make it easier for them to come in through ports of entry? Or, how do we do this? Or if once they're here, they can apply once they're in the country, or, there's so many areas of disagreements here. And the constant political bickering isn't helping any. But also, again, Catholics who are not allowing themselves to be formed by the teachings of the church in these moral issues are really not helping the situation, because the church has a lot to say about this. The church has been reflecting on a lot of these issues for 2,000 years, long before our country existed, long before the United States has ever existed. And we look at the Catechism. The Catechism is very clear on immigration and how we have it. But we need to be willing to do that, and we need to stop the political bickering. So anyways, that's my rant on politics. And again, it's not one party or the other. Both parties are doing this, and it just depends who happens to be in power, where, and when. And so that we see the mess we have now, that if there's any politicians, whether you're federal, state, or local, if you're watching this, do your jobs. Don't sit there and bicker. Don't sit there and argue and fight because my party versus your party. You weren't sent there for my party versus your party. You were sent there because of specific promises you made to us. Do your job to get them done, if you think that's what's best for our country. Because that's ultimately what politicians are there for. Do your job to make our country better, to make our lives better, to make people, so that people are respected morally in our country. That's what politicians are there for. Morally in our country. That's what politicians are there for. So that's the end of my rant. I've said more about it than I really wanted to. Hope you have a great day, blessed day. I hope you're someplace warm. If you're like me in cold climates, I hope if you've got nice weather, you're able to get out and enjoy it. So thanks for watching, and God bless.